Hello and welcome. If you are allowing others to track your progress on a WordPress blog and you are sharing notes with them on a regular basis, you can actually connect your Evernote application to WordPress. And you can do it inside of Zapier. So what you'll do is you'll click the Post New Notes, and then you will then create the Zap. You will then create a new note. Your Evernote account should already be connected from previous applications. We're going to click Save and Continue. And we're going to choose a specific notebook from which to operate. What we're now going to do is we're going to click Continue. And then we're going to fetch the same information so that we make sure that our test is working. We can then click Continue. And now what we can do is we can create a post based on the note we create in Evernote. So now what we need to do is to connect an account. And so we will need to provide some login information. Once we have the information for our WordPress account, we're going to click Continue. We're then going to test our WordPress account. Once Zapier confirms that it has been successful, we're going to click Save and Continue. So now what we'll need to do is we'll need to write in a standard title. Okay, once we have all the information we're going to place in there, we're going to click Continue. And now we should find a post on our WordPress site when we send a test to WordPress. Once we confirm that Zapier has sent the post, we can then check our site. And we can now verify our automated post in draft form. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. There are several integrations available between the popular storage app Dropbox and Evernote. And you'll notice that there are about 6 integrations that you can do with the third-party app Zapier. You want to note which one you actually want to use. For example, maybe if you want to send a Dropbox file to Evernote, what you'll do is you will click Use this Zap. So in this case, what Zapier is going to do is it's going to watch the folder you choose in Dropbox. When you upload files there, it's going to create a note and then send the link to your Evernote. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and click Create this Zap. We're then going to click the trigger, and then we're going to connect a Dropbox account. What you're going to do is you're going to allow Zapier to access your Dropbox. Once you have your files synced and you have tested, you will then click Save and Continue. We will actually choose a folder in Dropbox. And here's our folder, Creating Content with Evernote. Then we're going to click Continue. We're going to do a test through Zapier. And you'll notice that Zapier says that we did not have a file, so we're going to have to go ahead and place a file there. We can now verify that our file is now in Dropbox. So now let's go back to Zapier. And we are now back at our Fetch and Continue step. So we're going to click Continue. Our test is now successful. We'll then click Continue. We're now going to go to the next step where we create the note in Evernote. We're going to test our connection and then click Save and Continue. We're going to need to select a notebook inside of Evernote. So we will click the Email Content and Copy notebook. We'll want to give our note a title. And then we want to give that note a little content. Since there is going to be another URL, you don't have to include any other information. If you want to include some of the information requested in the advanced, you can. For example, if you want to include tags, but this is going to be an automated process. So if you know there are going to be different files, you may not want to designate those tags ahead of time. So once you've completed everything that you want your post to say, we're going to click Continue. And then we now have our Zap set up. We'll now click Send Test to Evernote. And now a test note has been sent to Evernote. So we should be able to check to find out if something is actually working correctly. And you'll notice now that our link has been directed into Evernote, along with the text that we have. So now we can click Finish. In some cases, you may have an error, and then if that's the case, you'll want to correct it. Once you do that, Zapier will confirm that your automation is working. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Through Zapier, we can also integrate and automate our connection to the photo sharing site Pinterest. And you'll notice that Evernote and Pinterest interact in two ways. First, you can create Evernote notes from your actual pins. You can also append notes in Evernote from new pins that you make. So both are very helpful if you are actually tracking what you're doing in Pinterest. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the first one and we're going to start with that Zap. And so we're going to click Connect an Account. Zapier will need permission inside of Pinterest. We're going to say OK, and we're going to test our connection. Once Zapier determines that the connection is sufficient, we'll then click Save and Continue. Now we'll need to select a board from those that we already have in Pinterest. And once we select that board, we'll then click Continue. Once we have everything in place, we'll click Fetch and Continue. And then we will then go on to our Evernote account. We'll then create a note in Evernote. We'll test our connection again. We'll then click Save and Continue. Then we'll need to select a notebook or create one. So we'll use our email content and copy. We're going to give our note a title. We're going to provide some context with some additional text. If we want to use an advanced settings, we can do that. We're going to, for the sake of time, we're just going to click Continue. Once we do that, we're going to test our note to Evernote. We need to check our test note, and we'll see our pin from Pinterest as well as the text that we added in for context. Once we do that, we can then click Finish, and we can decide to turn our Zap on. Now, in the case of Twitter, you will have choices. For example, there are at least 6 zaps that we can undertake. And there are also recipes that we can actually undertake with IFTY. So in some cases, it may be a good idea to also check IFTY so that you can discern whether or not you can actually do the automation without having to be charged. But in this case, as well as in the cases in other applications as time goes forward, you're always going to want to check both integrations before you create a new automation. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. In conclusion, now Evernote is an application that is adaptable to the way you categorize and organize your information. It's a great way of being able to organize those things that you personally think are important from day to day. Now you can keep track of all of that information in real time on your desktop, on the web, and on your mobile device, and have them all agree. Now, what isn't so obvious, though, is how you chronicle your information and your activity and also track that activity in Evernote. Now, because our individual online worlds are so complex, we need ways to make it easy to figure out what we've done day to day and where online we've actually done it. And we've seen in this course that you can use automation features in Evernote to do that, and how you can do it so that you don't have to manually create an entry in Evernote. And we've seen that Evernote has its own set of direct applications. Now we've also seen that the website IFTY has recipes that connect our activity to Evernote. And lastly, we've been able to see that the site Zapier can take our business-related activity and automate posts in Evernote. Zapier even provides us a way of being able to work on a document and update it in WordPress. Now, since Evernote comes at a cost, it's a good idea to start with the most features to discern whether or not you'll actually need them. And of course, you can then downgrade to the level that you operate in your life and in your business. Okay, so thank you very much for your attentiveness, and I will see you either in another video or in another course.